Hey guys, this video is going to review your references page. The last one I did was talking about in-text citations and different ways to introduce your quotes and different ways to cite. Just making sure that you are citing anything you paraphrase or directly quote. Down in your references page, keep in mind your references page should be on its own page. Sometimes if you do a page break, insert, break, page break, that will help put your references page on its own page, and then no matter how much stuff you type ahead of that, it won't like bump it down, because sometimes I get papers where the references page is like bumped way down, like halfway down the page. So here's a references page for a paper I wrote fairly recently, and a couple considerations I just want you to remember is make sure everything is evenly double spaced and you have not added extra line breaks between the entries. Sometimes I see a references page that looks like this, and that would be incorrect APA format. Oops, let me just hit the undo button. The other thing is to make sure it's alphabetized, right? So just make sure you've got that going on. All right, so if you are doing a scholarly article, then the format is last name, comma, first initial. So we don't do first full names ever in APA, and make sure your date is there. I've seen some people do the references where they'll put, if there's no date, they'll put ND, but then when I go and check their references, I'm able to find a date. So make sure you're looking really hard for those dates when you are putting your references page together. On the scholarly articles, make sure the name of the journal is in italics and the issue number and volume number are displayed as such. Okay, there's your example there. And then you can include the DOI link afterwards. Now, this one is a website that didn't have an author. So when you don't have an author, you have to use the title of the article on the page. So if we go to this site, all right, let that load up. You're going to find that Wayne County, Ohio demographics data is the name of the page where I cited information. So right here, that's the name of the page. So you want to make sure that if there is no author, you use the name of the page, not the name of the website. So the website is Town Charts, and you can see that it's usually the first thing in the URL. Town Charts. That's the name of the website. I don't want that if there's no author. I want the name of the page or the article on the page. So this page is called Wayne County, Ohio Demographics Data. So that's why I have that here in quotation marks. And then the date, and then I have the name of the page in italics. So when you're citing websites, also don't forget the words retrieved from. I do not need the date that you retrieved the website from. Some people have a habit of saying retrieved, maybe you looked at it like on April 18th, April 18th, 2020. I don't need, that's not APA, okay? So I do not need to know when you looked at it. That's an MLA thing, just a retrieved from and then the URL. So those are just some very basics as far as how to put together your references page. Of course, consult Purdue OWL if you have other kind of unusual situations going on. Purdue OWL will tell you how to cite everything. Just go down to the APA guide and use the information along the left-hand side to get to the style guides for APA, in-text citations and references. So the last thing I will show you is how to do the hanging indent, because everybody forgets how to do that. Okay, so here are my references for my hanging indent, Finetti, Jeffers, and the Wayne County, Ohio. So the way I like to do a hanging indent is highlight all of my references and then use the ruler here to indent. So I'm going to click on the little tiny arrow that's pointing down and move that in 1/2 inch, 0.5. Okay, and then I'm going to click on that little tiny rectangle above the arrow and move that back to where it was, which was at the 0, the left margin. Now, if you tried to manually indent everything, so if you tried to come in here and like tab it over, and you know, it's really finicky and kind of messy, and sometimes people try to go in here and tab things over, that's going to mess up your hanging indent when you go to apply it. It won't work. I'll show you. Okay, here we go. So see how these ones down here didn't do the hanging indent? You have to delete those extra enter key and tab key spaces that you put in there. So I'm just hitting the backspace button to delete where I tried to tab it over. Once you've deleted those extra spaces that you manually entered, it will do a nice hanging indent. So if you're having trouble with it, you need to delete some spacing that you did. Okay, so now I have a nice hanging indent. The other way to do it is just, I think you go up to Format, then Align and Indent, Indentation Options, and under Special Indent, choose Hanging, and it will automatically default at 0.5, and then you hit Apply, and it will do the hanging indent. So there's 2 ways to do the same thing. So that was just a quick review of how to put together your references page. And if you have any questions, just let me know.